I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What do you mean, calm it down? It's a fight. Referees telling two fighters who want to fight to calm it down? He should calm down.
I saw he's like a clown in his show, man. He's not your guy.
Because Tyson Fury's back, and all you motherfuckers are under attack.
Look, Eddie Hearn can say all what he likes. Who gives a shit what Eddie Hearn says? It's garbage.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Can you let me retire and be happy? Please? Just please.
Bombs away from the Bronx Bomber! Wanda! Let's go, baby! Let's go!
I'm through. They put somebody else up and give me an interview.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You're not shit.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
I got drunk, man! Are you kidding? No, you won the fight.
OMG. I am so excited.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up, MCR family? Another daily edition of the show live on YouTube. Obviously, I'm Matt, the Hipster Hunter, going solo dolo. Rob is sick right now. Fu was obviously at work. It's the middle of the day over there in Dallas, and plus, he's on his day job. He's not actually working, at the Hooker Ramirez press conference, just saying, kind of pressing. Fu, you're slacking, Fu. I mean, Rob drove all the way to London for a show. You can drive down the street to Dallas. Come on. I'm digressing, though. We have a lot of topics to get to. Dillian Whyte, his banned substance positive test, is the update of it is now happening, and it's all coming out, it seems like today. And we're going to delve into Thomas Hauser's updated piece, his secondary piece, that details what substances he popped for, what those substances are, plus dive into Thomas Hauser's own interview by Boxing Social, which I got to credit to Boxing Social. Fantastic job by the interview, fantastic questions. Thomas Hauser, long-form interview, we're going to delve into that as well, and just dissect the landscape of PD regulation right now in 2019, whether or not it's in a good place, and you know my opinion about that. Plus, obviously, Canelo Alvarez, Sergey Kovalev in negotiations again. God, why? I felt like we were just over that. Why are we now back into Canelo? I don't know. We have a lot to get to. Tyson Fury versus the God, Charles Martin. That's some good news, though. That's some good news. I mean, the God finally getting his opportunity back at a title. I mean, that's what really matters. We do have another tragic story, though, to unfortunately start the show with, because, you have to address it head on with these types of stories. We tragically had another passing, another tragic death in the sport of boxing this weekend. Hugo Santillan, 23 years old, he's a year younger than me, passed away. There's a video going viral right now on online. I'm not going to show it just because I have decency to him and his family. That show him in basically his last moment when he collapses in the ring when they announced the winner. The fight was a draw. They announced the winner, and he collapses, like mid-announcing. Like, hands are being raised. He is going down. It's rough. If you want to see it, go see it. I'm not going to show it. Again, out of decency for Hugo and his family. Rest in peace. Condolences, prayers to his loved ones, his team. This is tragic. 2 in span of a weekend is just, it's a lot to take, honestly. And at some point, some things need to be addressed. I saw Andre Ward come out here today and say that, we need to look at weigh-ins, which I've always been very adamant that weigh-ins are crucial to look at, that some of these guys are cutting too much weight, that maybe a same-day weigh-in should be experimented with. Maybe we should bring back IVs. Maybe these fighters are just too dehydrated post-weigh-ins, and just simple oral hydration isn't enough when we're talking about these extreme weight cuts. Again, just something needs to be done, let alone what Eddie Hearn brought up, the fact that oxygen should be present at every fight, stuff like that. Minor stuff needs to be looked at to sort of mitigate some of these tragic events, because I'm getting just a drain from it, to be honest. Let alone the families, let alone the teams, let alone the fighters themselves that are going through this process. We as a community, I think, are being drained from this. But again, rest in peace to Hugo, his family. Condolences to them. Sad news. Sad news. We're going to just have to transition. Unfortunately, just is what we have to do. We're going to have to get to the Dillian Whyte topic. So let's get to it. Let's just transition, because there's no good way to do it from that topic, honestly. Dillian Whyte testing positive now for 2 anabolic metabolites. And I'll read some of this from Thomas Hauser. Yesterday, July 24th, Boxing Scene reported that a sample taken from Dillian Whyte by United Kingdom Anti-Doping, UKAD, tested positive for 1 or more banned substances prior to Whyte's July 20th fight in London against Oscar Rivas. Boxing Scene has now confirmed that the substances were epimethadone and hydromethadone, 2 metabolites of the banned drug Dianabol. A metabolite is a byproduct of the body breaking down or metabolizing a drug into a different substance. When a drug is leaving the user's systems, it leaves these intermediate end products. Dianabol is an anabolic steroid that is taken orally, often in tablet form. It was developed in 1955 to treat hypogonadism, but is no longer used medically and is no longer legally available in many countries, including the United States. It can still be purchased in the United Kingdom and is often used as a performance-enhancing drug, particularly by bodybuilders. Among its many side effects, it can cause serious liver damage. The rest of this article, you can find the link below in the description if you want to read more of it. But, it's pretty self-evident what this is. First, it's it's anabolic steroid. Like, there's no, hey, this is cocaine. No, this is marijuana. No, none of that. There's no clenbuterol-like situation where there's plenty of documented medical studies about whether or not clenbuterol is performance-enhancing, and on top of that, whether or not certain areas are at high risk for contamination, such as Mexico and China. WADA themselves have conducted those medical studies, and you can find them on their website. This is anabolic steroids, and I feel like it's pretty self-evident what the conclusion would be, is that it's performance-enhancing. This goes against the rules. This probably should be treated with a heavy suspension, most likely, especially as a second offense. Now, I'm going to address some of the controversies of this situation in a second. But first, I want to address maybe why there is this confusion as to, VADA was involved. Why didn't VADA find anything? Therefore, there must be this conspiracy. Like, I've seen a lot of that going on by boxing Twitter / UK boxing Twitter. Sorry, guys. Just point the fingers at you guys. We're going to listen to Thomas Hauser's own words about this and see what he has to say about why VADA may not have been as efficient in this process as maybe UKAD or others. Just, again, really interesting stuff. And this interview you can find by Boxing Social. I'll post the link in the live chat. But we're going to listen to a brief part of it.
Why was it UKAD picking it up and not VADA?
Okay. First, you have to understand that the WBC Clean Boxing Program, while it's a well-intentioned initiative, has limited impact. VADA gets $10,000 a month from the WBC for the program. If you look at all the fighters in the WBC rankings who are subject to the program, that comes out on an average to something like $40 per fighter per month. That's not a lot of money. You can't do serious...
I want to stop there, even though we're going to continue, but I want you guys to realize how crazy that is. That the clean boxing program, this praised, heralded program from the sanctioning bodies, right? From a sanctioning body that was applauded by media, fans, fighters, everyone, right? And if you weren't in the clean boxing program, you were suspect. Jay, I'll get to that point. I see you. Don't worry. Thomas gets to that point. I'll get to it. Don't worry. The clean boxing program gets $10,000, or sorry, I should say, gives $10,000 to VADA from obviously the WBC. That is such a limited scope. $40 per fighter for drug testing on average per month. Are you kidding me? It takes tens of thousands of dollars to properly test these guys within training camps randomly, let alone all year, and let alone all these fighters. So we're talking about the WBC clean boxing program having a budget of $120,000 per year. Are you fucking kidding me? Of course nothing gets done. Of course it's an inefficient program that really hasn't caught anyone. And the people that it has caught, it's been, I would say, purely by chance and happenstance that they have caught these people. It's not been because the system is good. The system is innately faulty. Why? Because there's no money in it. It has a name on it. It has a rubber stamp of VADA, and therefore you should accept that it is a good program. But no, there's no money in the program. Absolutely absurd that the clean boxing program gets away with that. That should be a major headline on every boxing YouTube channel, on every outlet, that the clean boxing program is full of shit. Insane. But we're going to get to more of it because Jay Willis does bring a point. Didn't this fight get extra VADA, though? It did. And Thomas is going to bring up that point. Let's listen to a few more minutes, or a couple more minutes.
Testing on that. So they're limited in the number of tests that they can do. And also, even if VADA had more money, it's a hit-and-miss proposition. Many of the drugs that are used today by athletes illegally leave the system within 24 hours. So you can test somebody once a month, and you only have a 1 in 30 chance of bagging that fighter if he's using a particular drug. So it's really more of a deterrent effect. The fact that, well, if I'm using and I get caught, I will be seriously punished. But if you get caught and you're not seriously punished, then you just keep using. Also, and I just made the point, but I'll make it again, the problem is not a handful of individual fighters. The problem is the system.
I understand that, particularly with the clean boxing program on behalf of the WBC, but there was additional VADA testing for this fight. Is that correct?
There was some VADA testing for this fight, but not a lot. This was not the sort of situation where you have regular testing. For example, Canelo Alvarez had an issue with clenbuterol in Nevada last year. And what Canelo did was he signed up for a full year of VADA testing at his own expense for $50,000. He said to VADA, here's $50,000. You can come and test me anytime you want. He submitted to all the tests, blood and urine. He never missed a test. And he showed that for the last year at least, he has been a clear fighter. Now, the more money you have to test, the more tests you can conduct. In this instance, VADA had a fringe role. People love to say, oh, we're tested by VADA because it gives them some sort of imprimatur, but that's not really the case. For example, with the Pacquiao-Thurman fight, the promotion was saying, oh, they're tested by VADA. No, VADA did some collection for the Nevada State Athletic Commission because Pacquiao at one point was in the Philippines. But unless VADA does the testing and VADA chooses when the tests will be conducted, then you don't really have VADA testing.
We're going to stop it right there. And again, go check out the interview. Link is right there in the live chat when this video is clipped out. For those watching maybe later on a clipped out video, it's going to be down there in the description of the video. I mean, there's, again, a lot to cover here. Again, the clean boxing program is complete bullshit. VADA is used as a rubber stamp to sort of excuse lazy drug regulation. PD regulation, and on top of that, be skeptical of when promoters, entity like PBC, for example, because they're like a quasi promoter, when they start saying, "Oh, this fight's VADA test, this fight has drug, random drug testing," be skeptical of that. Thomas brings up a point later on the interview. Again, go check it out, about sort of his solution to how this could be done. And his idea would be that the networks would force promoters to do drug testing so that their fight cards don't get ruined, so to speak. And while I think that's a right idea, I think it's still a really bad idea. Why? Because the networks are one of the primary corporations that profit off of these fighters, regardless if they're tested positive or not, regardless of what they do outside the ring, whether it be a Mayweather situation, Marcus Brown situation. Networks don't care. Same with promoters. So I largely think, while Thomas has the right spirit of the idea, that you need some sort of entity outside the promoters to force these promoters to enact a sort of stringent code of, if you're going to be with us, you're VADA tested. I've always been of the mindset that has to come from a governmental oversight, whether that be state commissions and the ABC in the U.S. or the BBBC in the U.K. Whatever it has to be, in my opinion, has to be government oversight and regulation. Digressing from that point to all the talk of Revis's camp not knowing, Sean Nam has come out, great reporter, and he has talked to Mark Ramsey and all of the Revis's camp, and they have confirmed they have no idea that this happened. They're just as shocked as we are, and they are looking at legal ramifications. I shouldn't say I. Rob sent a screenshot earlier today without the link. I asked him to send the link. Don't have the link at this point. I think he said it was a Daily Mail article, which I know is not one of the greatest sources, but they said that Eddie Hearn was looking into I forget the exact wording they used, but some sort of legal ramification about this reporting, a legal injunction of some sort. And this is going to get messy, because the accusation of Eddie Hearn, of the BBBC and UCAD notifying Dillian Whyte and Matchroom, which Thomas Hauser says is due to them being under the rules of and sort of the guidelines that this information, in theory, should not be widely acceptable. Not everyone will be notified of this information until the process is done. Now, I'm forgetting the Fury situation, so I forget how that information came out to the public. But maybe it was a similar situation where a reporter got a tip and then it just came out that way. But digressing from that point, I do think that this is a serious accusation. And even if it is, just, let's say, policy by UCAD, that is extremely bad policy. That a matchup between two athletes will go forward with only one party knowing that they've tested positive for PEDs and the other party not knowing. That is extremely suspect. And again, just bad policy. If it is, in fact, UCAD and BBBC policy, which Thomas Hauser sort of alludes it is. On top of that, the fact that the B sample, we have yet to really hear about it, that should have been expedited. The second that an A sample comes up positive, that B sample needs to be expedited. And I know for UCAD and other testing agencies, they don't necessarily, or they shouldn't know who these test samples belong to. It's usually just a number, number 5AB70Z, whatever it is. But that should be policy as well. If the policy is, hey, let's not notify the camp of the other athlete, the opponents, so to speak, in a sporting event of a positive PD test, let's expedite this process so we know what this is ASAP. I know 3 days was a short window before the fight, but then you just postponed it. Like, one credit to the clean boxing program, and I don't even know if it was them in fact making this decision, but the Wilder Ortiz situation where they just postponed the fight, like that's like at least do that. At least do that. Something. But damn, this entire story is spiraling out of control. The possibility of legal ramifications and lawsuits and injunctions, all just fun stuff ahead. And Dillian Whyte's, again, alleged use of anabolic steroid is damning. Briefly, Rob sending me something from, looks like it's official. Here we go. British Boxing Board of Control anti-doping regulations. With regard to the above, UCAD undertook all anti-doping procedures on behalf of BBC, and any subsequent findings, decisions, and suspensions and sanctions are upheld by the BBC in line with UCAD. No further comment will be made in this time. This is such a weird statement, Rob, because like on my end, I don't know what it looks like on yours, but there's no mention of Dillian Whyte, nothing in this statement, Rob. So I don't know if this is a rule set. I don't know, Rob. Let me know what this is, because there's no mention of Dillian Whyte, Matchroom, boxing, anything. It just says, well, it said British Boxing Board of Control, but I don't know. Just curious. Again, it's gonna be a scary few weeks here for Dillian Whyte, probably. Matthew D'Souza asking, Matt, how often are fights called off with a failed test 3 days before a fight? I mean, you have obviously certain situations, like one that comes to mind, and it's a weird one, would be John Jones in the UFC. Not particularly this last one, because obviously they moved the event on short days' notice for the event to go on 3 days' notice. We actually have more. The more I think about it, we have more cases, infamous cases of fights going on. But John Jones, when... who was it? Was Dan Henderson popped or something like that? And then Chael Sonnen wanted to come in and he popped. Something happened and they canceled the event, but that's because John Jones didn't want it to fight one of the sort of stand-in opponents. But yeah, actually, to be honest, most of the case, Matthew, these fights go on. To be quite honest. Rob asking, what was the time scale for Colin Peterson? God, I'm trying to remember that. I can't remember, Rob. It was 5+ years ago, man. But moving on, because again, nothing else has been found out about Dillian Whyte other than he popped dirty for steroids potentially or allegedly. And again, go check out that Thomas Hauser interview, the articles, all that stuff. Links below. You guys know where to find it. Moving on, though. God, why are we talking about this still? Mike Coppicer saying, sources tell The Athletic negotiations are back on between Canelo Alvarez and Sergey Kovalev, and a deal is imminent. Ooh. Alvarez was in talks with Sergey Derevchenko after Monday's purse bid was delayed per Keith Idek. Canelo Kovalev could take place October 19th or 26th in Vegas. And on top of this, I don't have it up, but Mike Coppicer later tweeted that most likely if this happens, he will be stripped of his IBF belt. Wow. Crazy. I I don't care about this fight. And I'm tired of it being force-fed down my throat. I know there are a lot of people that do like this fight, my co-hosts included. I just don't like it at all. And on top of that, I am more just annoyed with this back and forth with Canelo that is just absolutely nauseating at this point. Like, it's so Mayweather-esque that it annoys me thoroughly. And you guys know me. Like, you guys in the chat, you guys, all long-time listeners, you guys know I'm a huge Canelo fan. This shit annoys me. Pick a fucking fight at this point. And on top of it, we're a month out from the supposed date of Kovalev Yard, and Frank Warren came out and said, "Oh, that's not happening." Matthew, I'll pull back to that. Don't worry. I'll jump back to that. Don't worry about it. On top of the fact that we are a month out from that Kovalev Yard fight, like, this is just getting annoying for the other fighters at this point in time. And maybe if Yard gets a massive like $5 million paycheck or $4 million, $3 million step aside check, he doesn't care anymore. That is absolutely possible. But I'm just not in the mood for Canelo Kovalev. I'm not in the mood for this just run around with the negotiation process. It's just insane. Stitching back to slightly the whole UCAD situation, Matthew D'Souza in the chat saying, "Matt, what do you make of Len Elby and Ruiz Jr. saying they won't come to the UK?" I think that's all posturing. Look, they are in the business in the U.S. They know that the U.S. side in terms of PDA regulation isn't really better. So you just really, it's like glass houses, stones, something of that comes to mind, to be honest. And I think Andy Ruiz has been posturing for a better deal this entire time, which he can do. He pull off one of the biggest upsets of the last decade. Like, he can fucking pull some leverage out if he wants. I'm okay with that. Moving on. Same with Mike Coppinger saying sources tell The Athletic that Charles Martin, the God, yes, is an option to fight Tyson Fury in the fall. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. ESPN is insisting on an American for Fury's next fight, and Martin fits the bill as a former heavyweight title holder. Oh, I love this. I love this fight. And you guys know, for a long time, in this chat and in the comment section, you guys that listen to this show for a long time, maybe the new listeners, you maybe don't know, but me and Rob, we love Charles Martin. Why? Because he is a walking, talking soundbite, and he is constant entertainment. And on top of that, he is one of those sort of guys that did not belong where he was at when he fought AJ. However, he has gotten a little better. So, props to him. He is slightly improved. He is not a world-level guy. Tyson Fury should win this fight rather easily. But Charles Martin has improved as of late. He's with Manny Robles now. They're obviously a world championship team now with Andy Ruiz. Hey, crazier things have happened. I'm not saying him winning. I'm saying just him getting the fight. That's the crazier thing. But yes, Tyson Fury, Charles Martin, all in favor of that fight. It makes sense. It's a tune-up, in a sense, for the Deontay Wilder fight. And it's vastly better, in a weird way, than Schwartz, Pinata, and Safari. So I can't believe I'm saying that Charles Martin is vastly better than a list of fighters. God, this is weird. Just crazy. Moving on, we have some minor topics to get to. Just a couple topics, and then we go to callers. 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. International callers call in on Skype. Mixed Combat Radio. Actually, I forgot to open Skype up. My bad. If we don't have callers, it'll just be a short show because there's no Rob. Only a couple minor topics left, and then I will head out of here, go get some lunch, and have a great day. But Gary, somewhere call in. Kaz, I know you don't call in, you're not the type, but you can always call in. Arthur, Fat Apples, Matthew, who else? Leonard, you don't call in. Team Batman Boxing, what up? Jay Willits, Rob, I know you're like sick or whatever. Allegedly. Sorry about this. I gotta start up the Skype computer. But anyways, let's move on. Koze Tanaka, the legend himself, fighting than Jonathan Gonzalez, or most likely fighting than Jonathan Gonzalez, August 24th. It's an alright fight. Jonathan Gonzalez isn't a guy that I think is going to beat Koze Tanaka, but he's definitely a top 20-ish guy. So I'm in favor of this fight. Totally makes sense. And plus, we get to see Koze Tanaka again. So all sounds good to me.
I want smoke.
I want the Koze Tanaka smoke. That shit's any Tanaka fight is up there with an Inoue fight, but you guys just aren't peeped on it. Let's be honest. Johnny saying I'd be sick if I was Rob too. Oh man, that's great. That was great, Johnny. I didn't want to make those jokes, but you did. Thank you. Thank you, Johnny. I don't want to be mean, but you were mean. Ricky Ellis saying Fury vs. Charles Martin ? With a bunch of laughing face emojis. Come on, Ricky. You love that fight. Tell me, guys, don't you just want to see Fury and Martin in like a face-off with Max Kellerman in the middle? That's what I want to see more than anything. Is those two guys in a face-off with Max Kellerman trying to hype up the beef. I will eat that up. I will pay. Nah, it's not good. I was about to get hyperbolic and say I'll pay pay-per-view for that, but nah. I can't let the jokes go that far. What else? Fat Apples. Revis was on the roids. Also donut. Yo, man, UK is a little hurt, man. I don't want to address it, but UK, you guys, I'm addressing you all as a monolith, and I apologize, but I don't really. And same with Sporting Icons, good friend of the show, obviously good friend of Rob. He's out there saying oh man, I don't see how it's possible. It's okay, guys. Your favorite fighter is on steroids. The second you realize that, and the second you get over it, the better you are. The better you are, trust me. First AJ loses, then White pops. Man, it's been a tough fucking couple months for the UK. It's all right, guys. We're here for you. We're going to support you through this time.
Sometimes
it's okay.
I feel discouraged.
I know, UK. I know, UK. It's okay. But my good friend Nate says,
everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.
Everyone's on steroids, man. It's okay. Everyone is. Last topic of the day, and then we're gonna either go to callers or not go to callers and just head out of here, and I'll get some lunch. Another sort of lower weight class news and hipster news. Vic Saluda versus Wilfredo Mendez WBO title clash August 24th. If you guys haven't seen Vic Saluda yet, that guy is always all action all the time. Great fighter. Go watch him fight. Any of his fights, honestly. He is one of my favorite fighters to watch in low weight classes. And Wilfredo Mendez, he's all right. Yeah, he's really unheralded, but I'll take it. But guys, we have Santiago. Santiago calling in. Lucky Santi. I'm hungry. Santi, what's up? Santiago?
Yo.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. I think it's interesting that most of us were kind of already aware that Dillian Whyte popped for something I guess we kind of just assumed it was going to be like an anabolic steroid. I can't really imagine. A lot of us thought it was going to be something stupid like the nose spray incident with Billy Joe Saunders. But, we've had this discussion countless times that when it comes to these particular testing agencies, it's really not even a glass half empty, but more like a glass quarter empty kind of deal with them, because on one end they make it seem like we're doing what we can to like make the sport more even and fair, but at the same time it's kind of like you guys are pretty much still as archaic as you were back in the 80s. I almost feel like the 80s might have had more enthusiasm trying to be better than we do today,
Oh, absolutely. Like, especially like maybe not even the 80s, maybe like the early 90s, mid 90s. Like especially like the baseball scandals. I think that was so prominent in American sporting culture and zeitgeist for so long. I think after, 20, 30 years of that, people get over it. Why? Because nothing changed.
Unfortunately, and it's kind of like, honestly, for me, it's just it's more of an issue just because, like, when it comes to like combat sports, it's a business where the idea is to inflict as much bodily harm onto the person in order to gain a victory. Whereas if you're playing baseball or basketball or hell, even soccer, it's just kind of like you just want to look like a better athlete at that point. That's why half the time when you look at guys at the gym that looked all jacked up and like their arms are so big that you wonder if they can even physically put them down, you pretty much have the understanding, why the hell they're doing steroids at that point.
Santiago, I'm going to go back to you, okay, because we have some more breaking news about Dillian Whyte. I apologize. If this is true, man, this is crazy. This is per the Daily Mail. Again, caveat the Daily Mail, I think, because I don't think the Daily Mail is the most reputable site, from what I know. Headline is Dillian Whyte underwent hearing in front of National Anti-Doping Panel just hours before win over Oscar Rivas, ... And he now faces a potential 8-year suspension after testing positive for a banned drug. I'll read a couple lines, I guess. Dillian Whyte underwent a hearing in front of a doping panel just hours before his clash with Oscar Rivas, Sports Mail can reveal. Get this video out of the way. I don't care about that shit. Thank you. It's understood that the 31-year-old and his legal representatives made their case to the independent National Anti-Doping Panel on Saturday morning. He went on to beat Rivas on points in the O2 that evening, despite being called in for questions related to a positive sample. As reported, he was positive for a small bounce of this stuff we covered, the Deanna ball. What is that? Stop. Ad. Whatever you're doing. Whyte is expected to comment imminently. A brief statement from his promoter, Eddie Hearn, on Twitter said further to reports can confirm that both Dillian Whyte and Oscar Rivas were subject to extensive VADA. Not so much. And UCAD testing for their bout. Both fighters were cleared to fight by both bodies and the BBFC. Wow. The fact that a fighter can be, and again, I definitely believe the panel part, because that's a crazy aspect to this story. Like, I don't think the 8-year ban, like, there's some aspects to this, like, I don't believe, obviously, but, like, you can't make up and lie, and the supporter, Raith Al-Samari, sorry if I butchered that name, you can't make up a lie that a fighter was in front of a UCAD panel, it sounds like. He's not calling it that, but it sounds like a UCAD panel. Hours before a fucking, a quasi, silver title fight, whatever, WBC Silver Championship. And he can still go on, like, and fight, and Rivas not know about it. Like, interesting. I'm at a loss of words, to be quite honest. If this all happened and Rivas wasn't notified, and Matchroom were aware of it, White's team was aware of it, the BBFC was aware of it, that is damaging to your reputation in this industry. Like, look, we can all sit here and understand the complexities of PD regulation worldwide, including in the U.S., and how there's limitations of it and how there's shadiness innately in it. But to specifically talk about this issue, this is reputation destroying in a way. Like, how do you come back from this? I am, again, a loss of words here. Crazy stuff. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about all of this now, because this information is an added piece to it that makes it seem much more egregious. Like, there was a hearing about this shit in front of UCAD hours before a fight, and they let the fight go on. This is shades of Eric Morales, Danny Garcia, where Morales and his team were aware of it. I think that was New York. New York was aware of it, and they let the fight go on. And then he kept popping for tests after the fact, and then it became more of an issue. This is a little bit different, obviously, because it seems like, I think in that case, Danny Garcia's camp did know. Wow. Crazy stuff here. I'm going to go back to callers again, 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. International callers, Skype, Mixed Combat Radio. Going back out to Santiago. Santiago, thoughts on that last piece of this developing Dillian Whyte news story, man?
Honestly, I wish Rob was on right now, because, like, you'd be grilling him about his opinions on all this, considering, I mean, dude, it's what, like you said, the complexities are one thing, but, like, to be aware in advance, let this go on, and the one fighter is completely in the dark about all this, dude, like, at that point, just imagine what the litigation and the suit could be like for Rivas, because, like, dude, that's pretty much conspiring against, to me at least, is like conspiring against someone, you know, where the promoter knows, the body knows, the fighter knows, but the other guy is kind of like, what, you know, and it's just like, holy shit, dude, like, this, honestly. You know, I would have wondered. I would have thought that these guys were in bed with the Cray twins at that point. You know, this reminds me of, like, what happened after the first Pryor Arguello fight, when the freaking athletic commission forgot to test Pryor after the fight.
Yeah.
Like I can't make heads or tails of this dude. As far as I'm concerned, whatever happens at this point, he's got an asterisk on his career now. He's got an asterisk because of this. You cannot just think people are gonna put this, especially what we've had over the weekend too. You know, with the deaths and everything. This is not something that's just gonna go away, as far as I'm concerned. You know, you're looking at something that's kind of like, we just had someone die because of injuries sustained in the fight not too long ago. We've got a guy popping for an anabolic steroid, you know, being reported that, you know, there was a panel convened hours before said fight, and it's kind of like, if this guy at any point had been knocked out and in brutal fashion, the same way that Chisora knocked out Artur Spilka, imagine the ramifications at that point. The fact that this fight was a measured pace at all, it's kind of like Rivas got lucky and so did Whyte, but fuck that at that point. Like, this shit is honestly, what else is there to say at this point, dude?
I don't know. And Leonard Sterling adding that in the Fury Christian Hammer case, it was the same thing, that Fury knew before the Hammer fight that he had tested positive, but let the fight go on, and he tested positive again post-fight. I didn't know that. Like, that wasn't publicized in the same way that is here, and it should have been. And that's an issue. Like, that's a massive issue with policy from UCAD and the BBFC. Massive issue there in policy. Like, a fundamental misstep.
Yeah, man, that's a lack of transparency that we've been asking for some time now, and it's kind of like, what do we look at these people? The people that are supposed to be in charge of protecting the fighters' welfare. The guys in charge of making sure the sport's on an even playing field. It looks bad on them. It looks bad on the fighter, and it's kind of like, dude, you guys are gonna have a lot of damage control to deal with at this point, because this shit ain't no joke. Forget that.
Anonymous saying,
anyways.
Fury, yeah, hold on. Anonymous going at me on the chat saying, Fury popped twice for Nanderon. You guys didn't go after him like you guys are going after Whyte and Eddie. Look, first off, I did not know that Fury's case was exactly like this, that he knew beforehand, before a fight, and his opponent did not know. I always knew they popped for Nanderon, always crucified him for that. But now that I know that this added part to it, yeah, it's equally damning. Like, UCAD and BBFC is 100% in question right now, in my opinion. This is a gigantic loophole in policy.
For sure, man. Anyways, I think you and I pretty much said all we need to say at this point, maybe even add a little bit more. But I think the context speaks for itself at this point, not just for Whyte, but also for the fact that, this is the same case with Tyson Fury, especially with the kind of figure that he's, being right now. So I'm going to leave you to it. If you get any calls, head to them. I'll see you later today at the gym to go work out with Fern.
Yeah, I'm not going to make that one. I got work later tonight, unfortunately. Day job hit me up. Unfortunate thing about, this being a side gig. But digressing, guys, that's going to be it for today. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe. Patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. Find me, Matt Hunter, MCR, all platforms. Leave a like, comment, all that stuff. Gonna be a fun couple days, obviously. Oh, I am gonna go over to Twitter right now and just look at all of UK Box and Twitter and just see them spiral out of control. It'll be a good one. Guys, have a great day, great night, great evening, wherever you are. Peace.
Everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Stay off the weed. That's stupid. Use your common sense. It's bullshit.
Hey, pussy, are you still there?